Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Okay, so those are the two stocks, Ramkrishna Forgings and more importantly Bharat Forge. Markets are now starting with a slight tinge of red. It's a little deeper in the mid-cap space where a third of a percentage point has been knocked off, a 0.25% loss on the Nifty Bank, but only about 0.1 on the Sensex and the Nifty. So you could say it's a flat to mildly negative on the Nifty, still leaving you guessing as to what it will do for the rest of the day. But there is an emphatic red on the mid-cap stocks. So let me start with the red stocks. And HCL Technologies is getting a bit of a beat, as Rima correctly warned us that the organic growth is even lower than what NASSCOM guided for the industry. Yes Bank is starting with a bit of a loss, 1.5. Tata Motors down 1.2. Our technical experts told you that. Metal stocks, as Sudarshan said, he doesn't like. Tata Steel is down 1%. Kotak Mahindra Bank is seeing a little bit of profit taking. Indiabulls Housing as well, again one of the sells from our technical experts. UPL, Ultratech Cement, BPCL, Bharti Airtel, all those are showing some weakness, but they have been doing that for some time now. What's showing strength? Actually, ICICI Bank, Hindalco are both up 1%. Bharti Infratel up 1%, almost. GAIL, Grasim, HPCL, Vedanta, ITC, all of them are holding up with about 0.5% in terms of gains. Nothing spectacular at all on either side, red or green. And the Nifty as well. Largely directionless, and if you want to call it a direction, it's mildly downward.
It is down for the mid-caps, no two ways about that. It's worse than the frontliners, down about 0.5% there. The market breadth is actually weak, 800 stocks on the declining end right now. The stock of the moment on the downside is InterGlobe Aviation, 5.5% lower, now 6.5%. But what's important is it's dragging the entire sector with it. Remember, if the market leader is facing such a big fall in yields, then you can expect the others to follow suit as well. So Jet Airways is also under pressure, down almost about 4% or so. A couple of these stocks like Siemens and NFL are reacting to their numbers on the downside. So Siemens, remember, spoke about a delay in finalization of orders. There was some negative commentary there. NFL, we've talked about how the margins have been under pressure, profits are down. So those stocks are on the downside. Let's take a check on what Biocon is doing this morning, because 7 observations have come in for their Bengaluru unit, and that's not gone down well with the street, down almost about 3.5% over there. Bharat Forge, as I said, the trend for North America truck sales is on the downside on a month-on-month basis. In fact, last 3-4 months, we've seen about 40,000, and this time it's fallen. So Bharat Forge is reacting on the downside there. And now Indigo is falling some more. PC Jewelers, by the way, 10.5% gone. Well, it's nothing new. I mean, it's lost 80% of its market cap this year already. So another fall seen in PC Jewelers. But HCL Tech from the frontliners is really the stock to watch. Another 5% knockdown there. Negative commentary on the conference call is bogging the stock down. But Anuj, I think it's more about individual stock pressure than the headline index today.
Yeah, but the market's warning was there, Sonia, about mid-caps. PC, by the way, is now a double-digit stock. So 12% gone on that. Jet was our stock to watch, in fact, this morning. So that's down about 3%. But Century Textiles is the other one, which yesterday started its fall. That one is seeing quite a bit of decline. Ashwani, your thoughts on market opening and any interesting stock idea?
See, the point is that Bank Nifty is already broken yesterday's range on the downside. Nifty is just about 10,700. But overall, the number of sectors which are higher, the way the mid-caps have opened, I don't think the market would be able to sustain 10,700. Probably another 50-point decline could happen. So that way, this sort of mild opening could be used to get short. I think the real thing probably starts midday, because if these mid-caps don't recover, then at some point, I think large caps will also give in.
Okay.
Ashwani, thoughts on Century Textiles? We were discussing it yesterday as well. And yesterday's low is long gone, now down about 4% on that stock.
See, basically, you know, this is the sort of action that markets don't want to see. I think, you know, you could have another 150 going on this one. So maybe 950, 960 could be the deal, because often, you know, result day reactions will start getting follow through. That means people are beginning to now exit the stock.
Okay, yeah, it's a rather steep fall in Century Textiles. In fact, I think we should pull up a 1 month or a 1 year of that stock. I mean, January was the peak, like it has been for so many mid-cap stocks, but the fall has been seminal since that. I think it was about 1,400 or thereabouts at that time. And the fall, of course, in the last 2 days has been precipitous. But InterGlobe Aviation, Sudarshan, is this a falling knife? Will you use the adversity as a positional player?
No, it's not a falling knife. It just needs to stop falling. That will happen in a few days' time. And at that point, yes, I would use that decline to be a buyer and a long-term investor in InterGlobe. I also suggested going short in the Nifty and the Nifty Bank. That suggestion is valid and remains. And it's an intraday trade, but be on the short side.
Okay, 5.5% down is what we have on Just Dial. Jet Airways is now down 4.5%. Biocon 3.5%. Balrampur Chini down 3.5%. Even a big flyer like NIT Tech down 3.5%. Ashwani, what's your big call for the day?
See, on the long side, it's ITC, but on the short side, I think all of these guys which have opened 5% plus on the downside, including, Just Dial, Indigo, PC Jeweler, even HCL Tech is down 5%. They could get a hammering because that's where, those positions need to be cut.
Okay, Indigo is in fact falling some more, now down almost about 8% odd. And as as the analyst earlier was saying, the management should have been a bit more higher on disclosures. At the conference call, there were many questions that were unanswered, especially with respect to yields, etc. A lot of just motherhood statements coming in from the company. So I guess that's something that disappointed the street. But thanks, gentlemen, for joining us and taking us through the market opening, which has been on the weak side. In fact, the Nifty is falling some more now. The Sensex is down almost 100 points. Let's invite our market master, Gautam Shah, joins in. He's the director and technical analyst at JM Financial. Gautam, hi, good morning. It doesn't seem to be great tidings for our market. Of course, we managed to get past the 10,600 hump, but it's looking a bit jittery at these levels. What's your own prognosis?
Well, Sonia, it's not looking jittery at all. I think the ease with which markets have taken out one level after another in the last couple of weeks is quite commendable. I think in the very true sense, the market has really climbed a wall of worry, because who would have thought in an environment of what oil has done, what dollar has done, and what US bond yields have done, to have the Nifty trading at 10,700, is quite something. And it just tells you that the price action is pretty strong, and one should not be fighting this price action. In fact, there are many factors which are currently in favor of the equity markets. Firstly, I think the fact that the geopolitical situation is looking much more relaxed now. The fence sitters, people who have been waiting for this market to, correct so that they get a better opportunity to buy, they are throwing in the towel, I think, with every Nifty level being surpassed. Earnings have met expectations so far. So I think there are many factors that are in favor of the markets. And when you look at the charts itself, you get the feeling that this is a sort of a V-shaped recovery which is taking place. And when such a recovery happens, it tends to, lift all boats. So we would like to believe that this rally is going to continue. There will be short, sharp corrections in between. There will be some turbulence from time to time. But as you rightly pointed out, I think around the 10,600 mark, the Nifty has a lot of support. And till that level is not broken, we are of the view that this move should take the Nifty to lifetime highs. So we are working with a target of about 11,100 to 11,300. And we expect those levels to come by in the next few weeks itself. So we remain quite upbeat, on the markets right now, and we feel that the downside is still quite limited. And also the fact that many people are highlighting that the market is overbought just because it is around 600 points. But please understand, this market is going through its small corrections from time to time. Look at what the mid-caps have done in the last few days. So that rotational correction does happen, but the overall setup continues to be quite positive.
Okay, Gautam. Just want to speak about this auditor. This was always expected. Gautam, just hang in there for a minute. Another auditor warning coming in and red flagging, saying that they are doubting the ability of Lavasa to continue as a going concern. This was very much in the news, and we even tried to get a comment from the HCC management. But now all the all the negativity is just coming out. The Reserve Bank order was one thing, but auditors generally are now saying, why should we cover up for anybody? And now they're also doing what they're supposed to be doing, red flagging.
Yeah, exactly. So HCC is actually the stock that should be interesting, because just see the chart of that stock intraday. So now that's down about 10%. Lavasa is getting near bankruptcy, and I think now auditors are also saying that, obviously that's HCC will declare numbers today, I think. So we will.
That's why it's in ahead of that.
Yeah, perhaps it's ahead of that. You've seen Lavasa's auditors making that statement.
But now auditors are going to come in left, right, and center.
It's the first audit of Lavasa, by the way. So that's an important one that you should be taking on board.
All right, not looking good, and it will not be the last that we will hear from auditors. Okay, Gautam, anyway, you bring good tidings. So your sense is that we should be able to conquer the recent all-time highs with ease. You see that happening, say, in a quarter or so?
Yes, Lata, I actually said a few weeks, and
Okay.
I think the results from the Karnataka elections, I think that's really going to be a trigger. But if I were to just preempt what's going to happen there, looking at the price action, I think you just get the feeling that there is a possibility of the Nifty scaling those levels sometime late May or early June itself. So I think the price action is good, and unless the US markets play spoilsport, I think Indian market should be okay.
Okay, so what, according to you, are the trends looking like going ahead in terms of individual sectors? Where do you see the maximum amount of potential now, and which are the spaces that you would stay away from?
Well, the good thing about the current setup is that the market is enjoying leadership from a number of sectors. I think this is something which was missing a couple of months back. The fact that the Bank Nifty underperformed for a lot of time, and despite that, the Nifty is at 10,600, 700, tells you how well the IT and the FMCG sectors have handled the scenario. And we are still of the view that the FMCG space has a long way to go on the upside. I think the index was in a 10-month consolidation, and that breakout happened a month back. So you are going to see a lot more strength in the FMCG space going forward. The capital goods index, I think, looks very interesting. I think the BSE index is at about 19,500. The manner in which it handled the bad times, I thought, was a very positive sign, and we are looking at a potential 15% run for the capital goods index from current levels. And to end with, I think oil and gas, apart from the OMCs, I think most of the stocks in the oil and gas space look quite interesting. Obviously, Reliance is the big boy, but from around this level of 14,000 on the BSE oil and gas index, we should see a pretty strong turnaround. And banks, it cannot stay in the backseat for too long. I think with what has happened in the last 4 or 5 sessions, there are indications of a possible breakout coming. And if that breakout above 25,700 does happen, you're looking at a possible 1,000 to 1,500 point jump on the Bank Nifty itself.
Okay. Gautam, hi, good morning. What about IT? And we've seen for last 2 or 3 days some correction, but massive move on TCS. In the mid caps, we've seen Hexaware, NIIT Tech, Mindtree almost double over a 1-year period. You reckon that's a space which will now, considering it's come out of a multi-year bear market, give good returns even from here on?
Well, Anuj, there are no signs of topping out for sure, but at the same time, I don't think it can maintain the same momentum. IT took the lead when none of the other sectors in the market were doing well, and now with other pockets in the market starting to do well, as I said, fence sitters are forced to get into the scene. So that's leading to many other sectors participating, and because of that, I think the pace of the up move in the IT space might just stall a little bit. So while I don't see any major downside, I think the upside from here might be a little more measured, and therefore one needs to be a little careful in terms of risk reward. I think there are better bets in the market, and the 3 sectors which I mentioned, I think, are on top of my list. IT, I think our eventual target is about 15,200 on the CNX IT index. So investors who are already long should wait for those targets before looking to book profits.
You did mention that the Nifty Bank is set to break out above 25,700, Gautam. But, who would be the leaders there? Is it the erstwhile leaders like Kotak, InterGlobe, etc.? Or do you see some new names crop up on that list?
No, I think it's going to be the old names. I mean, look at the way some of these old names have handled the correction. When that Nifty fall happened from 11,000 to 10,000, look at some of these top private bank stocks, whether it's a Kotak or an InterGlobe or a Yes or an HDFC. I think they were rock steady. They saw a little bit of a decline, but nothing very alarming. And now with the markets making a comeback, you are seeing them making higher highs almost on a daily and on a weekly basis. So I think these are the pockets. This is the pocket in the the Bank Nifty that will take it higher. It could possibly trigger a breakout in the next few days itself. And as I said, we are looking at a possible 26,500 to 27,000 target for that index. And even the PSU banks, they are looking slightly oversold. So as a trading bet, maybe one can consider some positions here. But in terms of buy and hold, it still has to be the private names.
Okay. Well, what about the non-bank financial companies? You know, they were the leaders last year. Is there more to go over there?
Yes, I think stock-specific call, and unfortunately, I cannot, talk about names. But overall, on the sector, on the segment, I think I'm quite positive.
Okay, what about crude itself, Gautam? Should we worry that it will rise, or do you think 75 is stoppish?
Well, theoretically, you need to worry, Lata, and I think I mentioned this last time in our interaction also that NYMEX crude is likely to move towards a level of 74, 75. But the price action is not giving any importance to those metrics, and that's the reason, I just have it at the back of my mind, because if I start giving too much importance to these factors, then you would not be able to participate in this excellent rally that we've seen. We are up 700 points in a matter of few weeks, and the price action is still good. So I don't think that one should worry too much about what crude is doing, at least in the current scheme of things.
Oh yes, absolutely. In previous occasions as well, Indian markets have risen along with crude, and it's only at very higher levels that crude becomes a drag on Indian equities. The point is taken. What is the downside then for this market? Is 10,600 very strong? If that is breached, what's the next level you would look at? And do you see it breached at all?
Well, Lata, I think the stubbornness of the bears is actually fueling this rally. With every 100 point the market is rallying, people are a little surprised that given these external factors, how is the Nifty trading at levels of 10,700? And when you have such a scenario, it typically just carries on and on, till just about everybody in the market is convinced that, it has to go up. And I strongly believe that 10,500 to 10,600 is a very strong base that we've created for ourselves. So till we are above 10,500, from an investor's perspective, I think one can just tag along. And even yesterday, you had such a bad day for the US markets, and yet today morning we are not doing so badly. So I would like to believe that 10,880 on the upside near term, and then 11,100 and beyond is something that we have to work with till the market is trading above that level of 10,500.
Okay, but Gautam, this mid-cap correction which started yesterday, and today also we've seen this big decline. Is this giving some kind of warning sign about distribution perhaps, and may anecdotally, I mean, though it's not worked out, but sometimes in the months of May we have had decent corrections?
Well, we have had corrections in the month of May. In fact, obviously, there is this old age saying of sell in May and go away. But then if you look at the last decade or so, May in more number of times has been good than bad. And the way we've started off this month, there are more indications of the market actually strengthening through the month. Yes, yesterday's mid-cap fall was a bit of a worry, but I think it is because of technical factors. And that's the reason I don't want to take it on face value. Maybe in a couple of days, these things could get streamlined once again. In fact, we are very, very positive on the mid-cap space. People who are looking to invest in the market, from a 1 year or 3 year perspective, mid-caps is still the place to be, because, from February to April, the kind of damage that mid-caps saw was phenomenal. And I think I mentioned this on your channel last time, that while the Nifty was at 10,000, mid-cap as a basket was trading at a 9,000 index. So there was a lot of potential to go up, and I think that's played out really well, and we would be positive. So I'm hoping that this just gets streamlined in the next couple of days, and then things get back on track.
I don't think the market is as optimistic as you, because right now the mid-cap index is falling some more and stocks are just getting thrashed out of shape. In fact, the index itself, the mid-cap index, is down more than 200 points. HCC is down 20%. Of course, it's almost a penny stock now, a 19 rupee stock, but getting hit very hard on those auditors raising questions. InterGlobe Aviation is down about 12%. Before we let you go, Gautam, a quick thought on what's happening in the aviation space. Coming off quite a bit lately, would you use it as a buying opportunity, or is this a space that will be under pressure for a while, you think?
Well, firstly, I would want the stock prices in the aviation space to stabilize at some point. You know, it should stop following, get into a sort of a range, and then maybe we can look at it. And let's not forget, a stock like InterGlobe Aviation has done so well in the last 1 year that even a correction of 10-15% is very small in comparison to the rise. So let it just stabilize for a month or so. But I think there are better pockets in the market. Why get into a sector wherein it's much more challenging to trade or invest? I think there are much cleaner setups in the market to look at, and therefore from that perspective I think aviation is an avoid for now.
All right, Gautam, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for joining us with your thoughts this morning. So remember his numbers, 11,300, and even if crude were to rise, which he expects, the Indian markets should be able to withstand that macro pressure and move ahead. It's not doing that right now, as Sonia was pointing out. The mid-caps are under huge pressure. So this is a bit of profit-taking and a bit of individual bad news that's hitting at the same time. So HCC now down about 20%, Just Dial is down 11%, PC Jewelers almost 10% down, Radico Khaitan 6.5%, Vakrangi 5%, and then I could go on, Jet Airways, Balrampur, NCC, a whole host of stocks. Usually highly leveraged stocks, but even others are being pulled down by the market. So the mid-caps in a huge spot of bother, almost 3 stocks in the red for 1 in the green. We will take a break on that note. Not a very pleasant note, but we're going to come back with one of the sturdy performers, Mr. H.M. Baruka, Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Can